Hey there, welcome to azdrone.net. I'm Rich, and today we're going to talk about Ground Station Pro and making a 3D map area with Ground Station Pro. So there are a lot of tools out there for capturing image data to convert into 2D and 3D models. And we've been trying out Ground Station Pro, and it really does have a place in our arsenal. The one thing with Ground Station Pro you need to know right up front, it is for iPads only. It's iOS, does not work on iPhones presently. So I'm running an iPad mini and we're doing a screen capture on my computer. So we're actually not out in the field right now, but you can use this out in the field. So we're going to take a look at Ground Station Pro. So I've got my handy little drone folder here on my iPad mini. And there we go, we've got DJI Ground Station Pro. Now there are a lot of tools in Ground Station Pro, and we're going to be talking about one specific one. We're going to be talking about the 3D map area. As you can see in here, I've got some other items that I've already done, little checkered finished flag, and I've got some areas that haven't been done yet. They're still editable. But we're going to do something completely new. So we're located in Prescott, Arizona, next to Watson Lake Park, which is a really cool city park surrounded by some amazing granite formations. And at that park, there is a disc golf course. So if you're a disc golfer, this is a pretty interesting course just because of the scenery around you. And so we're going to be making a full map, a full model, I should say, of the Granite Dells area where the disc golf course is. So I'm going to go down here the left-hand side with my little new button, and I'm going to hit new. And now we've got several options. We've got a photo map, which is a 2D photo map. We can do a virtual fence to keep ourselves flying in a specific area. We can do the 3D area map, or 3D map area, which is what we're going to do today. There's a 3D map point of interest and then waypoint routes as well. And we'll be talking about those in our longer course on udemy.com in the near future. But today we're just going to talk about the 3D map area and quickly run you through building a 3D map area with Ground Station Pro, especially a complex 3D map area. Now there are other tools out there that do this. I like Ground Station Pro because of the fact we can make much larger modeling areas than some of the other software out there. And so that's where Ground Station Pro is fitting into our business now. When we're actually mapping or modeling large areas, Ground Station Pro seems to be our go-to now. There are some issues with it, and we're going to talk about that as we build this map, because there's a couple things you really need to know to make sure that you're building a really good model. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the 3D map area, and we could use the aircraft to lay out the modeling area that we want to do, but I'm going to do the tap instead. So now it's zooming in to where I'm at right now, and right down the way is actually the Watson Lake Park, and I'm going to be building the model down here. So I'm just going to do a quick tap, and now I've got this little blocked out area. Now the actual disc golf course is pretty darn big. So we're going to be just tap and pull these corners out. And so I'm just laying out, I actually know the disc golf course because I am a disc golfer. So I am going to be laying it out. Now we've got these little midpoints where we can move some things around, which is great because I want really good coverage in here of the entire area. You see, recently the disc golf course has actually been expanded. It was originally a 9-hole course. Now it's a full 18-hole course, and it's a lot of fun to play in here. So I'm just dragging this out along the edges, and then I've got to make some new midpoints as well. So there I go. And actually, I totally missed this area because the basket number 3 is over there. And I'm going to pull this little guy in here so that we're not capturing stuff that we don't need. Just want to make sure. So this is actually going to be a large map. So I am now just dragging things out. and working around the areas where we do and do not want to show. So this shows just about everything now of the disc golf course area. I'm actually going to zoom this up, and let's just go ahead and bring that right up to the parking area. There we go. That's better. So being a little sloppy here, but this is basically our map area. Now, before we do anything else, let's take a look at some information over here on the right-hand side. So we've got 4,733 points. We've got our flight length, our main path, our cover area. So we're looking at about 40 acres here, and that's going to be all right. We're using a Mavic Pro, so we've got the Mavic Pro camera right here, perpendicular to the main path. It always shows up here. I personally like parallel to the main path so that the direction of the drone's travel is where the drone is shooting. We're going to go ahead with the flight course of inside mode, which keeps us inside of our defined areas here. And let's look down here. We've got an altitude of 60.2 feet. Now, the Watson Lake Park and the disc golf course are actually under 5 miles away from Ernest Love Field, which is an airport here in Prescott. So we do know that the flight patterns come through here. We do actually keep a radio on, listen to ATC while we're doing jobs in this area. And I'm going to set this altitude to 300 because I know the normal pattern here, and we do actually have a COA, so we have an authorization from the FAA to be working in this area. So I'm going to have the altitude of this at 306 feet now. So as you see, the grid lines have changed, and so this is our flight path, and it's widened it out. Now I'm going to tap on advanced right here. And whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. So I'm going to tap on the advanced in just a moment. I guess my little double click on advanced made it unhappy. And under advanced, we're going to take a look at a couple of things. So we have front overlap ratio at 70%, side overlap ratio at 70%. We've got a course angle of 91 degrees. Not doing anything with the margin. And I am going to change the gimbal pitch angle to 70 degrees from 90 so that we can get some side details on things, since this is going to be a 3D model. So I am just setting this to 70. There I go. And actually, I'm going to tap in here to make sure it's right at 70. Now you're going to notice that my flight path here has changed a little bit. My green lines where I'm flying are extended outside of the area. That's because of the gimbal pitch now. So the drone, if we look at the starting point, the S here, the drone is going to be facing north and initially flying backwards, but shooting to the north. It's then going to come down to this little edge here, move over, and start flying north and shooting north. So this is one of the issues with Ground Station Pro. The drone does not turn 180 degrees to start shooting in the opposite direction with each path. It continues shooting in the same direction the entire time. So normally you're going to have to make more than one mission to get your full coverage. So this mission is going to be shooting south to north, and then I'll be making a mission that shoots east to west, west to east, and north to south to get my full coverage. Now that might sound like a little bit of a pain, but most of the other capture programs out there will shoot in one direction, turn completely 180 degrees in the other direction, and start shooting in that direction for some of the overlap. In the case of Ground Station Pro, this is a one-way transaction with each mission. That's okay though, because it actually flies faster than any of the other drone capture apps that are going both ways. So even though we might have to make 4 missions to get our full coverage, the time it takes in that 4 missions is the same as 1 mission on a lot of the other software out there. So next item, right up here under mission 50, we have our flight length, and you can see 3 little dots. So I can actually slide this over, to see my next dots. And so it's telling me that this is going to be 37 minutes and 35 seconds. Whoa, I skipped something on my basic. That told me right away. On basic, I had it on hover and capture at point. I don't want that. I'm going to capture at equal distances. So now it's telling me capturing at equal distances, the shutter interval is going to be 3 seconds. Now the flight time has been cut down to 12 minutes and 11 seconds. So that's good enough for one battery on my Mavic Pro, which is awesome. So I am almost set here. So once again, let's look over this. I'm going to flip back to the first one here. So we set up our camera model. We're doing parallel to the main path. We're capturing at equal distance interval. I'm doing this on inside mode. The speed cap here is going to be 19.6 miles per hour, and it is shooting every 3 seconds, and we're flying at an altitude of 306 feet. Now let's go back to that advanced once more. And under advanced, we've got a front overlap of 70%, side overlap of 70%. We've got our course angle, basically 90 degrees, no margin, and a gimbal pitch. One other thing that I need to fix here is my return to home altitude. That's a little low, so I'm just going to tap in here. And I would like to return to home at about 100 meters. So there I go. Now I've got that set in here as well. And my final item, to cut some of the time down, this model doesn't have to be perfect. We're just making a quick model for the Prescott Disc Golf Association. So this doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm going to change that front and side overlap ratio slightly. I'm going to bring this down to 65%, and same with the side overlap. And that might not make for a perfect model, but when I take a look here, we've reduced our flight time to 12 minutes and 8 seconds with that. So I'm just trying to maximize my flight time. We're definitely getting the coverage. And after I'm done with this model, I'm going to be making some copies of this model for each of my directions. So I'm pretty much set for this, and I will bring you along for the actual flight in a follow-up video. But in the meantime, upper left corner here, I've got a save button. So I'm going to go ahead and save this mission. And I just realized I would also like to tap in here and change the mission name. So this is going to be Watson Disc Golf. And then I'll be making some copies of this. So there we go. I'm satisfied with that. So this is the Watson Disc Golf. I'm going to hit save again. And now, if I head out to the main menu, you'll see on the left-hand side that I have a new 3D model that has not been flown yet, and it's labeled Watson Disc Golf. So pretty cool. So now let's talk about how do I make the rest of my fly-throughs, because I'm flying from south to north, so I'm going to be missing the backsides of everything in here for my 3D model. So what do I do about that? Well, I can slide with my finger and do a copy. So now I've got copy of Watson Disc Golf, and I can go ahead and edit that bad boy. There we go. So everything has been kept the same, and what I want to change in here under advanced is very simple. I'm going to change the course angle to 0 degrees, and so now the drone will be flying from west to east, and it will always be pointing east as it's capturing each of these. So once again, let's take a second look. So this one's going to be 13 minutes 45 seconds just because of the paths. And that is not really going to help us at all with our coverage because we were flying south to north before. So I'm going to change this course angle because maybe I don't want to do 4. Maybe I can get this all done in 2. So the original course was at 90 basically, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate over to 180 degrees. And with my gimbal pitch as well, I'm just going to tap that up. There I go. With the gimbal pitch as well, being pointed down, instead of straight down, it's angled 20 degrees from straight down. That's going to get some of that edge detail. So the back sides of these rock formations. So maybe I can get away with only doing 2 missions. So I'm going to give that a whirl. If you want this to be really perfect and really accurate, I'm going to suggest that you make 4 missions in total. One at 0, one at 90, one at 80, and one at 270. But right here, I'm going to save that copy. And just to let you know one more time, this is, looking at this one, here's our start point up here. The drone is going to be facing west, and it's going to be flying backwards at first. When it gets to this first corner, it's going to slide south, and then it's going to start flying forward, so it's going to be flying west. It's going to get to this corner, it's going to slide south, now it's going to start flying backwards again, facing west. So now we've got images that we were capturing pointing north, and we're going to have images that we're capturing pointing west. Putting those two together should give me a good enough presentable model for the Disc Golf Association. And so we're going to have to go fly these missions. So I've set these missions up at home, and I'm going to pick a day, most likely tomorrow, when I know that Watson Lake Park isn't going to be that busy, because I want to make sure that there is no people showing up in these, and that we're not flying over people per FAA requirements. So we like to do things on the up and up here at AZ Drone, and we also have a visual observer that comes out along with us, and we're both Part 107 pilots, so very familiar with the rules, and we like to work within them to make sure that we can keep droning into the future. All right, so there's the setup, the full setup of DJI's Ground Station Pro for making a cool model of Watson Lake's disc golf course. So the next part of this video that you'll see in the follow-up part will be number 2, and we'll actually go fly this, capture all of our data, so you'll see a little bit of the flight, and then we're going to come back and we're going to offload all of the data, and we're going to process the data with Pix4D's model application.